All right. Hey, friends, and welcome back to the Energized Hairdresser Podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Jo Gillen, your hairdresser hype girl, helping you with your life behind the chair and beyond the chair. Here we talk about things that actually fuel your energy, from what you eat to how you think to how you show up in your day. Today, we're diving into one of my favorite topics, mindset, the secret that no one talks about, specifically how your thoughts create your feelings, your actions, and your results. So this episode is called The Real Reason Why You Can't Stick to Your Goals. And here's a hint, it's not your willpower. Let's get into it. All right, you know that moment after a long salon day when you say, I deserve this. I deserve that Taco Bell. Whether it's a glass of wine, scrolling TikTok or Insta for an hour, or snacking even though you're not really hungry. Well, that, my friends, is buffering, or what I like to call false refills. And it's one of the biggest reasons we stay stuck. So we're going to talk about that. But before, let's do our weekly check-in. How are you doing? How are you feeling? What's been going well? What do we want to appreciate? Remember, what we appreciate appreciates. So I know it's Thanksgiving week. You probably got 500 things to do, and hair is the last thing you want to worry about. But feel free to check in. Think about what's going on and how you're doing, right? This episode to me is going to be fun. Hopefully, I'm going to bring you some new concepts that you can really carry over into your new year. 2026 is going to be a great year for every hairdresser out there. I just feel it. And my goal as the energized hairdresser is to really connect our lifestyle to our work. How we've been trained to work is not it's not good. It's not healthy. And my mission is to make sure hairdressers don't suffer emotionally and physically like I did. Like I was on the verge, I don't want to be dramatic, but I could have died just with what happened to my body. I don't want to be dramatic, but when in 2022, I was diagnosed with Graves' disease, which is hyperthyroidism. So I have an autoimmune disease, which is my thyroid is overactive. And before I was diagnosed with that, I was like, I don't know how I can stay in this career anymore. I literally had nothing left. And to the point where I could not even like blow dry someone's hair. I don't know how I made it through those times. And it was only by sheer will of going, okay, you can do this. And my life really didn't have much after that. So that's where I'm at and why I created the Energized Hairdresser. And so why I think 2026 is going to be a great year for hairdressers is because I'm going to talk about it because I want it to be. And we're going to bring awareness to all areas of you, the human, the creative individual, probably entrepreneur, mother, you're probably have a companion. So we're going to dive into mindset. And as most of you might know, like I also am on a weight loss journey. After my last baby, I really gained a lot of weight. Plus I was perimenopause, which we can talk about what that is in another episode. And plus hyperthyroidism. And most people with hyperthyroidism lose an extreme amount of weight, but I was not that person. And as I learned about that disease, I'm learning how to now manage my body and my diet better and reduce inflammation and so on and so forth. But in that process, I have learned about mindset. Now, mindset can go in a lot of different directions, but this is really the underlying thoughts of what's going on or what we believe or what we think is possible. I am not a good dieter. Okay. I plan diets. I learn about diets. I desperately wanted the results of diets, but when I learned about my mindset, and I'm a coach, but then I became coached, and that pieces of the puzzle started making sense to me. Okay. So buffering, what is it? And why am I sharing this with you? Buffering is when we use something external to avoid feeling an emotion we don't want to feel. It's an emotional escape disguised as self-care. Okay. This is often looks like overeating, over consuming, over shopping, like overspending. It could be doom scrolling. It could be overbooking your schedule because you don't want to make that person mad. It could be scrolling Instagram instead of actually posting to do the thing that you want to do. It's having a snack that isn't the best choice because sticking to your diet is hard. All right. There's all kinds of feelings that we as humans experience. And in our beautiful modern culture, we don't want to feel those. I mean, we don't. And I am a big feeler. I feel all the things all the time. And I didn't ever want to do a Whole30 because it was going to be hard. I didn't want to lose weight because then I wasn't going to be able to have a sweet treat. Or I didn't want to go on a diet because I want to be healthy, but I also want to have a sweet treat, right? I want to grow my business, but I don't want to show my face on Instagram. Well, those things are uncomfortable and that is okay. You're avoiding feeling hard, but it has to be hard. Change in your habits. The better question I would ask yourself was, okay, so what? So it's supposed to be hard. Me and my own coach talk about that a lot. It's supposed to be hard. Or once I got into a rhythm of eating that fueled my body and was reducing my inflammation, I was so shocked at how boring it was. Starting a new diet is full on dopamine. This new diet's it's going to change my life. It's going to do great. And then all of the marketing phrases that Instagram tells you, the weight's going to effortlessly come off. I want that while I'm having my Coca-Cola. Anyway, but okay, so it's going to feel something. You're going to feel things. You're going to feel hard. You're going to feel angry. You're going to feel agitated. You're going to feel depressed, or you're going to feel sugar withdrawal, or you're going to feel, did I say anxious? Or you're going to feel incompetent. You're going to feel uncomfortable. Tell me, ask yourself, really ask yourself, all right, so what's wrong with that? Buffering is what we do to avoid pain. So it makes sense that you're going to do something to avoid pain. But what if that's a part of the growth process? If you have surgery and you're going to experience pain before you get relief, right? Now that's someone's doing that for you. You're right. We're not surgerying ourselves, but we've been so trained to avoid pain at all costs, avoid discomfort. I'm going to encourage you to feel it, because what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to feel uncomfortable. And in about 10 minutes after you start feeling uncomfortable, you're going to kind of be like, okay, sweet, I didn't die and you're good to go. Now, obviously there's other circumstances. I want to be sensitive, mental health, other things, you could really spiral, but this is just everyday life, right? I know one of the first videos I shared when I really ramped up my TikTok is life is 50-50. You're going to have good days and you're going to have not good days. You can't have happy without sad. You can't have joy without sorrow. You can't feel good without feeling bad. We buffer to avoid the pain, but honestly, what happens is when you're buffering to avoid emotions, you're covering up those emotions versus dealing with them. This is why Instagram and social media is so popular, because it's we're having thoughts come into our brain about well, what kind of emotions have I been holding down since childhood? Well, what kind of emotions are you holding down from last week? You know? So take a moment and think about, every time you go and every time I make a grocery list, I'm like, food. What is food? What do I want to make? I don't know what I want to make. I can't think of anything to make. I think this is hard. I'm going to look up recipes. And then the next thing you know, you're watching somebody build a glass birdhouse on Instagram. But it's okay for things to be hard. It's just learning how to process through them. So why do we buffer? Our brains are wired for safety, comfort, and routine, right? We have two parts to our brain. We have a critter brain, and then we have a prefrontal cortex. Our critter brain is safety, comfort, safety, comfort, safety, comfort, safety. That's what that critter brain is designed to do. And we live in a world that's super comfortable and super safe. But that brain also doesn't know the difference between real danger and perceived danger. So if there's a bear running into your salon, yeah, that's pretty dangerous. But if Becky comes in 10 minutes late with a Starbucks in her hand, your body's going to experience those in the same way, right? And then there's the physiology of what the danger does to our body. But the problem is the same thing that's keeping you safe could also keeping you stuck. If you remember back in episode 5, the mindset makeover every stylist needs, our thoughts create our feelings. Our feelings create our actions, and then we get our results. So where do our feelings come from? They come from our brain. If you think you deserve a sweet treat after a long day, the feeling that you're shoving down could be like guilt from not following your diet, or overwhelm, or tired, or unregulated blood sugar. Like our thoughts, like our feelings come from our thoughts. If we think about Becky running late, but bringing in 1 cup of Starbucks, we're going to be like, man, that Becky doesn't respect me at all. How dare her? I mean, like, I'm a hairdresser. No one respects me, right? But what if we think about it in a different way? Because as much as we can choose to think about being mad at Becky, we could also think, man, maybe Becky's having a hard day. And then maybe Becky needs a little, maybe she needs a sweet treat. So then we might now see Becky in compassion, and we might have more grace for her because we thought something different. Or that's why you see, like, on social, someone says something, but all of our thoughts are creating different feelings. Okay. So these feelings that you could be shoving down are probably preventing you from where you want to be. I'm just going to say it. And here later, I'll kind of give you some of my experiences. So the truth is, like, when we delay discomfort, it comes back stronger than ever. Right. So now I haven't posted on Instagram because I don't know what to post. I don't know what I'm doing. No one likes it. No one comments it. Doesn't matter. No one's doing it anyway. So then now you go to post, you're like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to plan out my week for my social media, or I'm going to plan out my week so I eat really healthy, and then sit down again. And you're like, well, I still don't know what to post. I still don't know what to do. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and have a snacky snack. Then now I already failed once. Now I failed twice, and it's going to like continue to build, right? It's just like when you avoid something, and then like procrastination breeds anxiety, and buffering also breeds anxiety. Like, and then, I mean, we're about to have the new year. Of course, everyone's like, I'm going to get snatched in the new year. And so when you deny yourself food, you can ask yourself, like, what's really going on here? Or say you want the results of feeling good in your skin. You're like, okay, I've done a lot of information, like reading up. I know my body has inflammation. Sugar causes inflammation. And so I'm going to reduce the inflammation in my life. But then you just have a moment and you can't help it, and you shove those fruit snacks in your face. I mean, I'm not speaking from experience at all. Can you tell? But then you can almost be like, all right, what could I have done differently? You can take a step back and go, well, I did go too long before meals. That's probably why I didn't have the temptation. Like, I couldn't resist those fruit snacks. I mean, this diet is really hard. So I'm going to I don't want to do this. Life's too short, YOLO, right? But buffering, it just gives us short-term relief and long-term discomfort. Okay. So how buffering blocks your goals. Okay. So when you set a goal, I want to be size 10 again. That's my goal. But you catch yourself eating donuts in the salon instead of fueling yourself. The results is you won't reach your goals. But sometimes the donuts become so automatic that you don't even know that you're avoiding them. Insert whatever vice you have here, right? I mean, it could be a afternoon Virginia Slim. I mean, I'm 42. I remember when I first started working in the salon, we would like smoke in the break room, the smoke was like invisible. It wouldn't go out into the salon, So, I mean, hey, do you. But what are we avoiding instead of owning? Right? We're adults. We're all adults, and we can all own the person that we want to be and the life that we want to live. The first way to do that is to take accountability and not be afraid of how much it might be uncomfortable. It's okay to be uncomfortable. I've been very uncomfortable a lot of the time, and you kind of have to feel it. There's really just no other way around it. Come hang out with me. I'm just going to give it to you straight. So when you have a goal, you don't want to face the path to get there, right? But then, or the path is too rugged, it's too uphill, it's too hard. So then you numb out, you eat food, you do whatever, and then you have the shame cycle enters the chat. Then you can't find reasons of why you can't lose weight. Oh, I've tried it all, like I've done all the diets, it doesn't work. Well, I mean, have you tried feeling your feelings? There could be some feelings there that we don't want to talk about. We don't want to feel. And food numbs those feelings, you know? So sometimes we could be buffering with things that are even healthy, right? Maybe you avoid Instagram and you go on a run. Like I've never been that person, but I'm now learning that walking helps me process my feelings, right? Walking helps me clear my head. Walking helps ease my anxiety, right? I was buffering because I was feeling anxiety, right? If any one of you know, I have 4 children. My husband and I started out as a blended family. So I have a 16-year-old stepdaughter. I have 10-year-old twin boys, and then I have a 4-year-old boy. I'm telling you, nothing gives a mama more overstimulation than living the boy life. Like I would look around and I'm like, why in the world are you jumping off the couch onto pillows with a spaghetti strainer on your head? Like what is happening? And so then it would be so loud and overstimulating. And if you're a boy mom, I think you get it. And so I'm in the kitchen and then I just start eating because I can't handle how overstimulating it is. So when you're faced with a desire, ask yourself, what do I really want? What am I avoiding? What don't I want to feel to get there? And honestly, that's where coaching comes into play, because a coach can help you cope and deal and assess what you really don't want to do. Coaching is different than therapy, but coaching helps you focus on your future and is that accountability compared to like a therapist is going to like more past focused, right? So where do I buffer most of my life? I just kind of shared I would eat to avoid anxiety or overstimulation. Learned earlier this year that I would eat in my van, and I found myself going into town because I live in the country, and so it's about 30 minutes to get into town. And then I've just conditioned my boys, where are we going to go eat? We're going to go get something to eat. And like sometimes I would feed them just so I could get some quiet time. Well, then I need a snack too. But then now I'm feeding them all kinds of high fructose corn syrup, which is going to make their rambunctiousness more rambunctious. I'm going to have a crispy Coca-Cola from McDonald's, but then now I'm not reaching my goals and now I'm going to shame myself for not getting where I want to go. So when I discovered that I was eating for a dopamine hit because my hyperthyroidism, my Graves' disease made me so tired. Like I couldn't make it through my day without sleeping. And then so I would wake up, I would eat. So food kind of like woke me up. Food would keep my boys quiet for a little bit so I could have time to breathe. Food was such a stronghold on me that I learned and I connected that my van, and we ate food in our van. Well, this year, my mindset coach challenged me and said, I want you to stop eating in your van. And I'm like, what? And it's been about 120 days and I haven't ate in my van. Oh, so how did I do that? Once she told me that, we found, a bridge. I was like, does that mean coffee too? She's like, no, let's not go crazy. Okay. I now have to leave a little earlier so I can make sure I can eat breakfast. Cause if I'm eating breakfast in the van, so we need to plan that out. And then if I'm in town, I live in small town, Indiana. So like we have 6 Subways, 8 pizza restaurants, 13 Mexican restaurants, McDonald's, Taco Bell, and Burger King, right? So if you're from a small town, I know where I was going with that is like, well, there's nothing healthy. Okay, well, if you need to eat, you're going to pull over and you're going to pack some snacks that's going to support your goals. That's a pain in the butt. Yeah. What do I want more? Do I want to feel good in my body, or do I want to just be a victim? I want to feel good in my body. And let me tell you, I'm halfway there and I feel so much better in my body. So that's kind of how I got started. I figured out what could I do in my van? I could still drink my coffee if I needed to be aware of why I was stopping at Starbucks. So I needed to plan with my prefrontal cortex when I was going to go to Starbucks. There is a Starbucks in my town, so I guess I should give it some love there. But basically, you kind of just have to think ahead. And so not only was I avoiding not eating in my van, now I have to plan more. So I added more to my plate, but how much did I want my goals? And it's worked out. Like it really has. Like now I can be in my van and that doesn't rule my life anymore. Okay. I'd also buffer with just, we live in like an open concept house. So it's like if the kids are over there in the living room and then I'm in the kitchen, I would just mindlessly eat. So learning how to not do that. So a couple takeaways here. Buffering feels like protection, but in reality, it's a pause button on your true potential. When you stop buffering, you start living the truth in your life. You can start to see exactly what's going on in your mind. When you can start to look at your mind and look at what's going on there, woof, right? And if you see what's going on there, then you're like, I don't know what to do with all this. That's where a coach comes in, right? When you go through your mind, we work one-on-one together and we figure that out and help you process, right? You can see what's really holding you back, what emotions you're avoiding. And this path it's where change begins. It's where change actually happens. Everyone's so great at telling you that they have the secret sauce. I am just one human being, but I do know I've experienced the other side of the coin and I love how I feel now. Knowing how to fuel my body with healthy food and how it feels in my body is so much more rewarding than having sugar overload and feeling bloated and puffy and uncomfortable and then groggy and sleepy. The other side of it, like, do I miss not having a sweet treat? I mean, not really. I mean, or like I can learn to have one. I can learn more moderation. It's the overconsumption that it's like that doesn't do me any good, right? And this is not my life. My life is to feed myself healthy food. That's, protein, veggies, carbs, right? Healthy from the ground kind of carbs. And I don't feel deprived. So just so you know, if you're ready to stop buffering and to start feeling better in your body and your business, come hang out with me in the Energized Hairdresser Collective on Facebook. Shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'm on the Instagram or the TikTok. I'm on all the things. And if this is a goal that you want to have for 2026, I want to feel better in my body, then let's work together. I work with hairdressers one-on-one and we can figure out what's really holding you back. It's affordable when it comes to coaching. Some people think, oh my gosh, it's so expensive. No, it's an investment, but it's like, I want you to feel good. Like I want this for everyone. So if you're ready, or even just let it marinate. Sometimes it takes a little while to get where you think that you want to be, but just know that when you can start to face what's really going on in your brain, that's where magic happens. And it's okay. It's okay for things to be hard. It's okay to be uncomfortable and to tune in to really who you are, because that's where true growth is. That's where freedom is, where you're like, man, I'm uncomfortable. It's all get out. And I'm just going to sit here and feel it. It's really a good time, it's a good time. I talked to my cousin, she's like, how you doing? I was like, well, I really feel kind of crappy right now. Great. And then we just kind of go about our day, because it's like, what's wrong with feeling crappy? Nothing. So thanks for hanging out with me. I hope it's Thanksgiving week. So I hope everyone has a very happy Thanksgiving. You get some time to rest, rejuvenate, and feed yourself with things that you really want and reflect. So I look forward to our next episode where we're going to dive into, it's not just about movement, but why exercise is really important. So enjoy your evening and see you next time.